13, Amnon and Tamar. Now, David has two children, a son named Amnon, a daughter named Tamar. Amnon has intercourse with Tamar against her own will, and Amnon then, after doing that, just decides to hate on her and sends her away. And he is then avenged, or Tamar is avenged by Absalom. And Amnon was drunk with wine and then killed for doing that, violating Tamar. Now, Absalom struck and killed all the king's sons, and one of them is son. I'm not sure what king, but it doesn't matter. The point is, Amnon is dead after what he did wrong. Now, after that, David mourns for him, and then Absalom flees to escape any repercussions. So then David was glad because Amnon was dead because of what he did. All right, chapter 14, the woman of Tekoa. Now, Joab, the son of Zeruiah, perceived that the king's heart was drawn toward Absalom. So Joab sent a messenger to Tekoa and brought a wise woman from there and said to her, "Please follow mourning rites and put on mourning garments now, and do not anoint yourself with oil, but lead like a woman who has been mourning for the dead for many days." Then go to the king and speak to him in this way. So Joab put the words in her mouth. Well, when the woman of Tekoa spoke to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and prostrated herself and said, "Help, O king." And the king said to her, "What is troubling you?" And she answered, "Truly I am a widow, for my husband is dead, and your servant had two sons. But the two of them fought in the field, and there was no one to save them from each other. So one struck the other and killed him. Now behold, the entire family has risen against your servant, and they have said, 'Hand over the one who struck his brother, so that we may put him to death for the life of his brother whom he killed, and eliminate the heir as well. So they will extinguish my coal which is left, so as to leave my husband neither name nor remnant on the face of the earth.'" Colton Court 13 and Leo J 13, God bless y'all. Welcome in. Then the king said to the woman, "Go to your home, and I will issue orders concerning you." Then the woman of Tekoa said to the king, "My lord, the king, the guilt is on me in my father's house, but the king and his throne are guiltless." So the king said, "Whoever speaks to you, bring him to me, and he will not touch you anymore." Then she said, "May the king please remember the Lord your God, so that the avenger of blood will not continue to destroy. Otherwise they will destroy my son." And he said, "As the Lord lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground." And Casey, God bless you, and welcome in. Then the woman said, "Please let your servant speak a word to the Lord, to my lord the king." Then he said, "Speak." The woman said, "Why then have you planned such a thing against the people of God? For speaking this word, the king is like the one who is guilty, and that the king does not bring back his banished one. For we will surely die and are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up. Yet God does not take away life, but makes plans so that the vanished one will not be cast out from him. Now then, the reason I have come to speak this word to my lord the king is that the people have made me afraid. So your servant said, 'Let me now speak to the king. Perhaps the king will perform the request of his slave.' For the king will listen to save his slave from the hand of the man who would eliminate both me and my son from the inheritance of God." Then your servant said, "Please let the word of my lord the king be comforting. And so is my lord the king to discern, or sorry, for as the angel of God, so is my lord the king to discern good and evil. And may the Lord your God be with you." Then the king answered and said to the woman, "Please do not hide anything from me that I am about to ask you." And the woman said, Let my lord the king please speak." So the king said, "Is the hand of Joab with you in all this? And the woman said, As your soul lives, my lord the king, no one can turn to the right or to the left from anything that my lord the king has spoken. Indeed, it was the servant Joab who commanded me, and it was he who put all these words in the mouth of your servant, in order to change the appearance of things. Your servant Joab has done this thing. But the Lord is wise, like the wisdom of the angel of God, to know all that is on the earth. All right. Casey, Leo, Colton, God bless y'all and amen. And also you too, Christian. Happy Saturday and God bless you. And God bless everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day. Okay. Absalom returns. Then the king said to Joab, Behold now, I'll certainly do this thing. Go then, bring back the young man Absalom. And Joab fell on his face to the ground, prostrated himself, and blessed the king. Then Joab said, Today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, my lord the king, and that the king has performed the request um, of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. However, the king said, He shall return to his own house, but he shall not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house and did not see the king's face. Reviction grinds. God bless you. Welcome in. I just I used to eat them whole, but I don't eat bananas anymore. I gotten bored of them and I haven't eaten them since. God bless and Jesus bless every one of y'all. Amen, Leo and Colton. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. All right. Now in all Israel there was no one as handsome as Absalom, so highly praised. From the sole of his foot to the top of his head, there was no impairment in him. And when he cut the hair of his head, and it was at the end of every year that he cut it, it was because it was heavy on him, so he cut. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels by the king's weight. And to Absalom there were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar or Tamar, I don't know how to pronounce it, but she was a woman of beautiful appearance. Now Absalom lived 2 full years in Jerusalem, yet he did not see the king's face. Then Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but he would not come to him. So he sent word again a second time, but he would not come. Therefore he said to his servants, See, Joab's plot is next to mine, and he has barley there. I thought it meant barely been there, but barley there. Go and set it on fire. So Absalom's servants set the plot on fire. Then Joab got up, came to Absalom at his house, and said to him, Why have your servants set my plot on fire? Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I sent for you, saying, Come here, so that I may send you to the king, to say, Why have I come from Geshur? It would be better for me still to be there. Now then, let me see the king's face, and if there is guilt in me, then he can have me executed. So when Joab came to the king and told him, he summoned Absalom. Then Absalom came to the king and prostrated himself with his face to the ground before the king, and the king kissed Absalom. Yeah. Chapter 14. There's a woman from Tekoa whom Joab tells, Go to the king. It doesn't specify what king. It just says the king. Could it be King David? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure. But she tells the king, "Help! I'm a widow. I have 2 sons that fought in the field. No one to save them. So one struck the other and killed him. Now the entire family has risen against your servant, and they said, Hand over the one who struck his brother." So The king sends the woman home, and then the woman said, uh, uh, um, oh, by the way, Colton, God bless you again. Welcome in. Uh, hello. You, God does not take away God, but makes the plan so it's advantage. People have made me afraid, and you too, Leo. Um, I'm not sure. And then, whoever is the king said, as your, um, I'm sorry, I'm trying to parse all this. So the king says to tell the truth and say whether or not, Joab is the one who sent her to say all this, and she says yes, it is. And even she says, no one can turn to the right or to the left for anything that my lord the king has spoken. That's something that's repeated in the Bible, not to turn to the right or to the left. um, so the king, it doesn't specify what king. Maybe I'm missing something, but it says the king. He sends for Absalom, and then Joab um, goes up to the king and says, today I found favor in your sight, my lord the king. But not Joab, but the king says, he shall return to his own house, but he shall not see my face. Maybe that king is God himself. I don't know. Since God sees that Joab sent the woman to speak all these things to the king that is here, that might be God speaking because he knows that it's Joab who planned this. So, he shall return to his own house, but he shall not see my face. Um, yeah, because it reminds me of when Moses said, or not Moses, but God told the people that no one shall see his face. In fact, nobody saw him except for Moses. Moses saw his back, apparently. So, Absalom uh, had 3 sons and 1 daughter. What else? He did not see the king's face after 2 years in Jerusalem. And then Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, and he did not come. Because of this, he sets Joab's barley on fire. Uh, and then Absalom goes to the king and the king kisses Absalom. Maybe perhaps kind of as if Jesus um, was kissed by Judas when he was betrayed. I'll be clear with you. I don't know exactly what's going on in chapter 14, other than there's a woman who is claiming to be a widow, and that the whole family is rising up evil. And then the king senses that it's Joab, so he sends for him and says he's not going to see his face. I know there's a hidden message here, but I can't figure it out. So if anybody wants to parse what this means, chapter 14, let me know later. Set Joab's. In order to summon him, maybe. Yeah, I guess that's what happened. Summoned, yeah, he summoned Joab by setting his barley on fire. I don't know what else, but you know what? Let's go to chapter 15, Absalom's conspiracy. Now it came about after this that Absalom had provided for himself a chariot and horses and 50 men to run ahead of him. And Absalom used to rise early and stand beside the road to the gate. And when any man who had a lawsuit was to come before the king for judgment, Absalom would call out to him and say, "From what city are you?" And he would say, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "See, your claims are good and right, but you have no one to listen to you on the part of the king." Moreover, Absalom would say, "Oh, that someone would appoint me judge in the land, that then every man who has a lawsuit or claim could come to me, and I would get him justice." And whenever a man approached to prostrate himself before him, he would put out his hand and take hold of him and kiss him. Absalom dealt this way with all Israel who came uh, who came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the people of Israel. Now it came about at the end of 4 years that Absalom said to the king, "Please let me go and pay my vow, which I have made to the Lord in Hebron." I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but whatever. "For your servant made a vow while I was living in Geshur in Aram, whatever it's pronounced, saying, If the Lord will indeed bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord." How's it going, Jerry? God bless you and welcome in. Um, the king said to him, "Go in peace." So he got up and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spices throughout the tribes of Israel, saying, "As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then you shall say, 'Absalom is king in Hebron.'" Then 200 men went with Absalom from Jerusalem, who were invited and went innocently, for they did not know anything. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city Gilo or Gilo, while he was offering the sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong, for the people continually increased with Absalom. David flees Jerusalem. Then the messengers came to David, saying, "The hearts of the people of Israel are with Absalom." So David said to all his servants who went with him to Jerusalem, "Arise and let's flee, for otherwise none of us will escape from Absalom. Go quickly, or he will hurry and overtake us and bring disaster on us and strike the city with the edge of the sword." And the king's servants said to the king, "Behold, your servants will do whatever my lord the king chooses." So the king left and all his household with him, but the king left 10 concubines behind to take care of the house. The king left and all the people with him, and they stopped at the last house. Now all the servants passed by beside him, and all the Kerethites, all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, 600 men who had come with him from Gath passed by before the king. Oh, Sammy, welcome back. Long time no see. How are you doing? God bless you. Then the king said to Attai the Gittite, why should you go with us too? Return and stay with your king, since you're a foreigner and you're in exile as well. Return to your own place. You came only yesterday, so should I make you wander with us today while I go wherever I go? Return and take your brothers back. Mercy and truth be with you. But Ittai answered the king and said, as the Lord lives, and as my lord the king lives, wherever my lord the king may be, whether for death or for life, there assuredly shall your servant be. Good. Just got home and great to see y'all. That's great. If I'm not mistaken, I think you had a surgery. Um, how's that surgery going for you? Then David said to Ittai, go across over the brook Kidron. So Ittai the Gittite crossed over with all his men and all the little ones who were with him. While all the country was weeping with a loud voice, all the people were crossing over. The king was also crossing over the brook Kidron, and all the people were crossing over toward the way of the wilderness. Now behold, Zadok also came, and all the Levites with him, carrying the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar came up until all the people had finished crossing over from the city. And the king said to Zadok, return the ark of God to the city. If I find favor in the sight of the Lord, then he will bring me back and show me both it and its habitation. But if he says this, I have no delight in you, then here I am. Let him do to me as seems good to him. The king also said to Zadok the priest, are you not a seer? Return to the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, your son Ahimaaz and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. Um, See, I am going to wait at the river crossing places of the wilderness until word comes from you to inform me. So Zadok and Abiathar returned the ark of God to Jerusalem and remained there. And David was going up the ascent of the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went, and his head was covered, and he was walking barefoot. Then all the people who were with him each covered his own head, and they were going up, weeping as they went. Now someone informed David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, Lord, please make the advice of Ahithophel foolish. It happened as David was coming to the summit where God was worshipped, that behold, Hushai the Archite met him with his coat torn and dust on his head. And David said to him, if you go over with me, then you will become a burden to me. And if you return to the city and say to Absalom, I will be your servant, O king, even as I was your father's servant in time past, so now I will be also your servant. Then you can foil the advice of Ahithophel for me. Or Zadok and Abiathar the priests not with you there? So it shall be that whatever you hear from the king's house, you shall report to Zadok and Abiathar the priests. Behold, their 2 sons are there with him, Ahimaaz, Zadok's son, and Jonathan, Abiathar's son. And by then you shall send me everything you hear. So Hushai, David's friend, came into the city, and Absalom came into Jerusalem. Right. Yeah, we read, I think, 2 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2 chapters. There might be a part 2 later this night, which will be just chapter 16. How are you? Michigan, it's almost 7:42. I have been trying to find this, but did not find y'all. Sorry for not joking. It's been a busy day. I almost died. Whew. Oh, tell me about it. Um, Joining. Wow. I hope that you are all right. I hope that you're doing great. I'm going to set my phone down for just a moment. It's going to be a black screen, so, but I'm not actually dead yet or not dead, but you know, not actually blanked out. It's just my phone right there. Okay. Um yeah. Sammy, I know that you had a uh, I yeah, I know that you had that incident where the guy almost killed both you and your dad. I hope that you're finally healed and strong. I'm doing all right. Yes, I remember that ordeal. That was horrid. You and your dad are truly resilient. The grace of God is the reason why your life was spared during that chaos. The Lord provides miracles for those who most need it and those who regard his name in holiness. Um, Not just in you know, whether it be life-threatening situations, whether it be political, um, savings from political stuff, or even the small things. God can do it all. I'm doing better doing better now. And I appreciate you and you too. Oh, thank God for that. Um, let's see, chapter 15. Um, Now, Absalom, he is being praised as though as he's going to become the king. Now, Absalom made a vow to serve the Lord if he goes back to Jerusalem. And Absalom makes himself king in Hebron. Now, whether it be illegitimate or legitimate, um, I think that is a conspiracy. We love you, Sammy. Man, I almost forgot about you, Sammy. Thank you, thank you for coming back. I forgot how I forgot about that. I'll be honest, I'm sorry. But it feels great to see you again. You know, when Sammy is giving his testimony, I think I know that what he's going to say. Maybe, maybe not. But yeah. Leo, God bless you and welcome back. I forgive you. Thank you, Sammy. Um, all right. Um, Now, when the messenger tells David about the whole Absalom thing, David flees because he believes that Absalom is going to conquer um, Jerusalem. So they flee Jerusalem, and um, the king, it says the king again, but he says to Idai, the Gittite, why should you go with us? Stay here because you're a foreigner. And Idai says, as the Lord lives, I'll follow y'all. I'm just paraphrasing. So then David says to Idai, cross over the brook Kidron. So he does that. Um, so does Zadok and the Levites. So all these people are crossing over and escaping Jerusalem. And David was going up the ascent of the Mount of Olives, weeping as he went. So David prays to the Lord and wants the advice of Ahithophel to be foolish. He wants it to be for naught. So what does Ahithophel say? Let's go back and see if it says in chapter 14. I don't see anything. Ahithophel. Oh, Absalom asked for Ahithophel for advice in order to conquer Jerusalem and thus conquer Israel, I believe. But so I believe David wants Ahithophel to sabotage Absalom's bid to be king. Uh, yeah. What else? So far we have chapter 13, Amnon and Tamar, a brother who violates his sister, and then the brother hates her for no reason, and then is killed as an act of vengeance by Absalom. And David mourns, but is also comforted at the same time because he did evil. Now, a woman comes and is sent by Joab, who claims herself to be a widow and claims that a whole family is rising against the servant. And then whoever is the king, it just says the king. Or I guess the king of Tekoa. Um, um, you find out that it's Joab, and the king sends Joab to his own house without him seeing him. And then Absalom plots himself in chapter 15 to become king over Israel. And David has to flee because of fears of an invasion. All right, folks. Now we're going to go into a podcast style segment. I think we're going to do a part 3 tonight, but it's going to be when I get home. I don't know when we're going to wake up tomorrow to go to the airport. The flight goes out at 12:47, so you know, we'd have to see. But at the same time, my mom's apparently we're gonna go wake up at 6, 6:30. But you know, I'll go ask when my mom will be. I wonder what time you'll be back home tomorrow. I'm hoping we'll be back just in time for the Chargers and the Patriots game. Oh, by the way, breaking news. NBC's scorebug has been leaked. If you do not want a spoiler alert, then do not go to X and search NBC scorebug. But if you do want a spoiler alert, go on x.com and go into the search bar and type in NBC scorebug, and then you'll see what I mean. There's one apparent leak that turned out to be a phony. It turned out to be one of those fake recreations from Roblox. It's on a red screen and the scorebug's there. Now the other one, it shows a picture of Gillette Stadium and then the scorebugs there. I think I love the new the the leak that I believe is confirmed. I think I love it. No, just the main one. The other graphics um I do not get to see. Oh, by the way, I forgot before we go uh before actually let me add this. When these leaks circulate, they're usually shots of the stadium they're going to air the game from. They have a shot of the stadium or some kind of colored background, or it could be a footage from, or a shot straight from the booth from the studios inside the stadium. But this time it does not show any of the other graphics except the main score bug. Nothing else. Um, Let me know. Yeah. Actually, let's go and read some more of these comments. Uh, God is good. This is why you are with us and doing well. You overcame a major life threatening trial, and because of God, you have emerged strong, Sammy, Cam, and Tom. Yeah, the Lord showed favor, and now all that's left is to glorify his name and and proclaim his proclaim him as Lord and Savior, and know that he loves you. Yes, he will let these things occur, these life-threatening moments occur, but he will glorify his name in the weakest moments, in the moments that it seems very dangerous. Thank you for subscribing, Jenny Lee, or Jenny Second. How is your dad doing after all of that? I hope he is also doing well. He is good. He just got his meds, and I got surgery today. Mm, yeah. Prayers for your dad and for yourself as well, so that both of y'all may heal strong and be courageous and share your testimony about the Lord. The incident was back in March or April, I believe, and you just got the surgery today. Yeah. For my ear, I had an ear infection. I've had ear infection once. It got to the point where my ear swollen up completely, and it hurt badly. I got I went to the ER and they gave me Benadryl, and within the next day it got healed. Man, I had an ear infection back in November, a week before Thanksgiving. Yeah, Mine was also in November, but November of 2024. No, 20. No, actually, that was something else. But yeah, that was bad. I remember that, Christian, that you had an ear infection as well. So, um, yeah, that's awful. There's a difference between an ear infection and, you know, um, I once had an ear infection where the ear swelled up inside the ear canal, and then the other infection where they look at your ear and the inside of your ear and it looks infected, but at the same time, it's mainly your throat that hurts. Maybe your ear as well, but the throat hurts. No, yesterday. Okay. I'm glad God gave you the strength to keep going. That was a long time to wait for the surgery. Yeah. I wonder what time you will be back home tomorrow. Yeah. Sorry. Did you get to see the final score as well? I mentioned that. Sammy had a David versus Goliath moment and overcame. Yeah. Just like, you know, when uh when Moses and the Red Sea parted and the people, the Israelites crossed over. David versus Goliath and Jesus versus death. Those interconnect, interlink. Just saw an updated on the Paramount versus Netflix saga. The Justice Department is going to investigate both deals. Whew. I saw that. I know Paramount has written about that, and yeah, I just hope Paramount doesn't go bankrupt for, you know, for Netflix. I know that people are, or not Netflix, but Warner Brothers Discovery. I hope Paramount. I know people want Paramount to acquire it. I just don't want them to run out of money, to go bankrupt, to go into financial problems. And as long as that happens, I'm all for Paramount. And Paramount's offer is still far superior over Netflix. Yet WBD still wants Netflix, making nepotism. Yeah. David Zaslav is just ruthlessly squashing and squandering Paramount for whatever reason, even with full guarantees. It's an offer that's too good to resist. Most people don't want Paramount or Netflix to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. It seems like the consensus is hotly against both buyouts. I agree. I, people are going to say, oh, it's capitalism. It's going to ruin blah, 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 blah. And then Comcast just had a Homer Simpson sliding into the bushes moment and just disappeared. Yeah, Comcast. I'm not sure what Comcast. Oh, by the way, let's say that Paramount and Comcast merged. If all this fell, then Paramount would either they would have to divest from NBC. They would have to sell NBC to I don't know. They would have to leave NBC alone. Um, yeah, Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers Discovery. That's in the news. What else? Comcast and Paramount can merge due to them both owning a broadcast network. I don't see that happening. Yeah, yeah. They would have to drop NBC likely, or I don't know. I think they would consider CBS um, more valuable than NBC. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But it is rumored Comcast will be exiting traditional cable to shift its business model to focus on streaming. They still claim they are losing too many subscribers. So I guess it also means the end of NBC Regional Sports Network as well. Um, what else? Um, Venezuela. I'm not sure if y'all heard about this, but um, the United States has taken Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president. He was taken into the U.S. and is uh, facing charges for drug stuff and trafficking and other things. I have Comcast Xfinity cable here at home. That's going to make some major changes at my house if that happens. Yeah, I remember when AT&T bought Warner Brothers. AT&T, by the way, is from Dallas, Texas. I think they're moving to Plano, but they're a Texas-based company regardless. The nation has also shown it needs Jesus more than ever due to the unrest going on in the cities. Too many people are rioting over the Minnesota incident. I've heard about that as well. And now we have one side that is saying, look, the ICE agent was doing all it was instructed to do, even defending himself. The way that that she was killed is on her. And then the other side is saying, well, the ICE had no right to kill her. She was all alone without help, and her wife was standing there and uncontrollably crying and stuff. So we have that as well. So terrible stuff going on in Minnesota. Um, but I hope that whatever happens, um, I saw the footage and I just, there's a verse, I think there's a verse in the Bible that says that if you do anything that's right, then you can't be afraid. Then, and I think that would apply there. Like, if the woman had complied with ICE and didn't do anything wrong, then uh, perhaps the Lord shows favor there. Oh, hold on. That's right. AT&T wants to move to Plano, just like the Stars wanted to leave Dallas for Plano. What's so attractive about Plano? Um, I don't know. I mean, maybe the same reason Minute Maid is from Sugarland. Uh, a lot of people like to move stuff out of the suburbs. In fact, many people love to live outside the city. Like many people would like to rather go to a place, let's say San Antonio. They'd like to go to Sutherland Springs, Lavernia, or Somerset, or in Houston, they probably live in Cleveland, in Cleveland, Texas, not Cleveland, Ohio, just to be clear. Sugarland, the Woodlands, um, and then if Corpus Christi becomes as big as Houston or San Antonio or even Austin, then in Austin would be Georgetown, Cedar Park, Bastrop. Oh, by the way, X is located in Bastrop. AT&T has been in Dallas since 2008. Before that, they were in San Antonio as they had been acquired by SBC in 2005. The current AT&T is a former SBC Southwestern Bell. SBC bought the original AT&T, which is its former parent company it spun off during the Bell breakup. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think AT&T also owns Cricket, just like Metro's owned by T-Mobile. Apologies, came late. What Bible stuff are we talking about? Um, well, this part 2, we were reading about 2 Samuel 14 and 15. Um, there's a woman who goes up to a king. It doesn't specify what king exactly, but um, the woman claims to be a widow and that there's 2 sons that fought, and then the entire family is risen against the one who killed him. And then I don't really understand 14, but 15, Absalom gathers all these followers. I have a suspicion that it's possibly like a false prophet type following or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll read more. But David, because of this, has to flee Jerusalem because he fears that Absalom is going to conquer um, Jerusalem. But yeah, that's what we went over. There's going to be a part 2 later, I believe. Maybe, maybe not. I'm hoping so, but yeah.
¿No vas a comer?
No.
¿No quieres cenar?
¿Te vas a quedar aquí? ¿O quieres irte a casa?
Pues yo creo que nos vamos a casa porque tú no has hecho tu maleta. ¿Ya qué hora la vas a hacer?
Cuando llegue.
La de los venaditos que te
Cuando llegues.
mi
Sí.
mamá.
No hay tiempo de hacerla.
Sí. ¿A qué hora quieres llegar?
¿A cómo que quieras quiero llegar?
A casa.
Pues a la hora que se pueda.
Yes, AT&T owns Cricket. They acquired Cricket back in 2013. Yep. My dad has Cricket. AT&T's shortest lived acquisition was Warner Media. It seems like Warner Brothers has been a thorn in the side of every company that has owned them, sadly. Speaking of which, the phrase thorn in my side originates from 2 Corinthians 12:7. Isn't that where Paul is told by the Lord, my strength is made great in your weakness? I think that's where. I could be wrong.
¿No vas a comer?
¿Qué hiciste comer?
Yo no hice tu chelo. Hizo...
Come, César, porque mañana hay que salir a las 6 y no hay nada en el camino todas esas horas que coman, ¿eh?
Ok.
Entonces echarte un sándwich, llevar un sándwich de jamoncito y quesito, aunque sepan cómo en el camino, porque en la mañana todavía no hay nada que compren de comida.
No me gustan casi los sándwiches.
Una manzana o algo para que comas.
Because of the extraordinary greatness of the revelations, for this reason, to keep me from exalting myself, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from exalting myself. Concerning this, I pleaded with the Lord there 3 times that it might lead me, and he has said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell with me. Therefore, I delight in weakness and insults, in distresses, and persecutions, and difficulties, in behalf of Christ, for when I am weak, then I am strong. Yeah. And lest I should be exalted above measures through the abundance of the revelations there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. Bam. I'll pin that. This was originally written in Greek, so I don't know. That's sigma, delta, lambda, eta, SDLE, or actually, I don't know what the last character is, but theta, phi, theta. Some people say phi, but it's also phi. I say phi. Theta, phi, theta is what we're talking about. Seems similar type story. AT&T and Ma Bell, Pacific Bell, and etc. I don't know. Same delta, lambda. Is that a euro sign? Euro sign, yen or yuan, and euro sign. 18 was forced to break up by the government in 1974 and spin off all the baby bells. One of them, Southwestern Bell, ended up buying the company at once. It's like a reunion. And yeah, I know. It's like a reunion. And I know Christian can attest to that once. He's had that experience before. Um, what else? I think one of the baby bells also became Verizon. I might be wrong about that, but yeah. And then Sprint, I believe, was bought by AT&T, I believe. I'm going to remain single forever. Ty Cena, God bless you and welcome in. Is that you, Mike? SBC was some neat new cell internet science because the AT&T name was more broadly recognized. SBC chose to rebrand as AT&T after acquiring them. Yeah, kind of like ABC acquiring ESPN. People know ESPN, even though the days of cable are likely going to dry up. But they're not known as ABC Sports. They're known as ESPN. Even the telecasts on ABC are known as ESPN on ABC. Verizon was born out of the merger of Bell Atlantic Corp and GTE. Mm. Yeah. I'll be right back, folks. I'm gonna serve myself some food, and then we're probably gonna hit the road in just a few minutes. Maybe I'm probably gonna be online for 30 more minutes, and then we'll head on home. And then I'm gonna pack my bags and get ready over there. I can't stream while in Mexico on the road because it would drain up my data. And unfortunately, the bad thing about Metro is that you would only get 5 gigabytes of data on roaming, no matter what. You can't buy anything, which I hate. But I'll be right back, folks. Continue talking. No, ya comí muchos carbohidratos por hoy. Ya comí mucho carbohidrato. Bueno, está bien. All right, sorry, folks. Um, Texaco and Chevron also merged that year as well. So did Nabisco and Mondelez International, or Mondelez International. Yeah. Um, Viacom, CBS, Bell Atlantic, GTE, AMF, and Clear Channel, and AOL, Time Warner, and oh, J.P. Morgan and Chase also merged that year too. Yeah, that was back in yeah back in nine. Sí, dame un momento. Ahorita voy a cocinar. Sí, dame un momento. Sí, sí. En como unos 3 minutos. Sí, ahorita voy. Sorry. Um, People telling me to go eat. So, my mom served me food because apparently we're going to wake up at 6 and we're not going to eat the whole way. The new millennium was kicked off with a series of mergers and acquisitions, something that has not slowed down. Yeah, exactly, folks. And if and with this new Warner Brothers stuff, I hope that whoever acquires Warner Brothers may take good care of it because Warner Brothers is volatile. And that's proven with history. AOL failed, AT&T failed, and whoever acquires Warner Brothers, I have no idea, but yeah. Oh, also want to shout out to Isabella Essence. Uh, According to her Instagram, her mother has died, so we keep her in your prayers. WB is waiting for their shareholders to vote against Paramount rather than letting them decide for themselves. Um, yeah, that's not good. And that's why the Justice Department has to look at that for, you know, arbitration stuff like that. My condolences to Isabella. Really sorry to hear that. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's you don't want to hear those things. You don't want to hear a family member die. Um, Sadly, we're all going to die, but yeah. Apparently, shareholders are split between choosing Paramount and Netflix. I hope that a lot of shareholders will select Paramount, but Paramount, I hope that they don't spend a lot. They don't go out of the way to spend too much. You see, they could acquire Warner Brothers, yes, but uh, will they get? What was I saying? Will they get enough for their buck? My good friend Hope Meyer is also really sick now. She has a lot of different conditions affecting her right now. I'm not sure how mom is doing though. Okay, yeah. Yeah, sorry to hear about that. Um, all right. I'm going to bring y'all into the crowd because I'm going to go eat with my family. And I'm just gonna have y'all listen to how it sounds. So I'll still be up here, and I haven't gotten an update on my stepfather yet on his skin cancer. A stepfather. Interesting. Yeah, prayers to your stepfather, to Hope Meyer, and to Isabella's family. We're eating in a commune. That's awesome, swimmer 15, 14. I hope you enjoy your meal. Yeah. Are we going on a field trip to your family's dining room? Yeah. This is my little cousin Isabella. This is my mom. This is my aunt. Husband. Yeah. Hello, Blanca family. Yeah.
My little cousin.
Yeah. And that's my other cousin right there.
Que nos está presentando hoy.
I'm gonna film them eating. Can't wait to see what's on the menu tonight. Oh, this is some cauliflower, some potato, and some squash, chayote squash, and some rice and carrots. So it's veggie soup with rice. Oh, and some ground meat as well.
No, que necesitaría venir cada rato que íbamos a. Íbamos y venían ustedes, digo, iban y venían.
¿Y ahora hasta cuándo van a venir? ¿En mayo o junio?
Hasta el año venidero, digo, lo chino.
Lo chino, yo creo que ya no hay ni huesos.
Despolvito de lo chino.
Me acuerdo que me decía, no va a haber galletas y nos sacaba de aquí del sabor, promóvil, picante de nivel.
Eso de, ¿cómo se llama? De Raiso, ¿cómo se llama? Raiso.
Oh, Kirie, ley, son.
¿Qué sé qué?
Ahora, por no. Dice que ustedes hacen picante y si no cantábamos nos regañara. ¿Quién más?
A ver, ya, acá hay muchachitos que nomás vienen a las galletas.
Sí, la bien corajudo. Era bien corajudita.
We are bordering on 70 minutes for this stream.
¡Párale!
¿Quién hizo de Medina?
Fascinating to me. Hold on, I'll get going.
Sí, mantecajeta, hija.
Yeah.
Son las
Me
mías.
acordé que te gusta tanto la cajeta. Le digo a tu tía Vero que dices que para tu cumpleaños tú prefieres que te den un costal de bolillo y una
If I'm not
cajeta.
mistaken, you can also make potato. Oh, we got some news from Warner Brothers Discovery. I don't have my laptop with me, but those of y'all who are able to see that link, click on that link, and it'll bring you to some news right there.
Traigamos la camioneta a tu tía, a tu mamá cuando ya llevemos a tu tía al aeropuerto. Voy a echar unas para que te lleves el lunes con un yogur a la escuela. Unas de cajeta. Ay, no, porque tienes unas galletitas de cajeta.
¿Y qué hora te llevas a ver?
A ver, a las 6 y algo, a ver, a las 5.
Ay, qué terrorífico.
Ay, sí, dijo esta, qué miedo. Dijo
Me
esta.
da terror.
Ah, tú eres la misma que decías, ay, qué terrorífico, esto ya fue.
No, esa no.
Ah, sí, Manuelita, tú decías, no, tengo todo muy bien calculado. Soy hija de Manuela de Llano. No pasa nada.
No, repito, lo que dijo.
Soy la pichuca. Y nomás.
It's supposed to be a democracy. What
What
would you? Oh, I was. Did I say potatoes? I meant to say cauliflower. You can make cauliflower rice.
Voy con mi princesa bonita.
Slow down a bit, it's fine. We're talking about House of Kings, the Mabel, and such.
Ya se te olvidó.
Sorry.
Se te olvida los caníes. A ver, yo juego con. A ver si están enséñanos a jugar ajedrez. Pues enséñanos a ver.
Warner
Quiere que
Brothers.
jueguen con él. Con él y nomás jugamos a lo tonto y dice, ¡ale! Venga,
They might be violating a lot of antitrust laws
Sí, Emilia
and
le
stuff,
encanta.
or maybe some different laws.
¿Tú sabes jugar?
Jugar, oh, chess, no.
Oh.
Caballito.
Aquí. Este de aquí. Ahorita me saco todo.
A ver, tú cómo daros. Yo ahorita, mientras le voy a llevar esto al gatito. Yo ahorita vengo para jugar. La Chabela le mandó hoy a mi mamá los con leche y también
Yeah,
se
about that
compra-
Warner Brothers stuff. Yeah, it's not ideal.
Pero dice mamá, Misa no me habla, ni la paz me da, chiquita, cuando me ve.
Also, not ideal is the way that Warner Brothers is trying to force money out of Paramount. Quite honestly, yeah, Warner Brothers is. It's not even now, here's the thing: democracy. If a majority selects this, then there's no checks and balances to prevent it from happening. Constitutional republic, there's some safeguards that prevent one majority from ruling wrongly. The shareholders could actually sue them over this. Warner Brothers Discovery did not allow them to decide for themselves. They're trying to influence them without letting them decide for themselves. Absalom and Abydos. Absalom wants to make himself king over Israel, I think, but at the expense of David's fleeing. Yeah. I'm James' namesake. A what? I don't know what you're trying to say.
Dice mamá que sí se le echa a los perros porque más vale.
¿Hay uno para cada cuadro o no?
¿O alguien quiere arroz de Chabela?
No, pues necesitas el arroz para que te vienen enamorados.
Gracias.
¿Qué tal si le echo otra cosa? ¿Quieres arroz de Chabela?
If only everybody had that same mentality to go, sell that stuff. Could you remove David Zaslav from Warner Brothers? Military intelligence type, slow down. I don't know what you're trying to say, swimmer. Taking off my shoes for now. David Zaslav would have to be voted out. The board of directors would have to announce they want him fired, and shareholders would have to vote on that. Okay, in that case, then no, because the board of directors, I know for a fact that they have unanimously voted against Paramount. Yeah, the board of directors won't do anything in that case. Y la que está con negro es gato o gata. Es gatita. back. Warner Brothers executives are close friends with Netflix. How does it look? Yeah. For that reason, that's why they're not subordinate to Paramount. And if Paramount has indeed taken all this to litigation, then that's good for them, because they indeed have been cheated. They have been done wrong. It's all in the Justice Department's stuff, decisions. How does this look today in today's world is how I question the Bible in today's world. Before, think ahead of the book. Nepotism is toxic, and it's also a sin too. God doesn't play favorites, and He expects us all not to do so either. Right. Hold on a second.
¿Usted está estudiando para ingeniero?
Sí.
¿Sí?
Yeah.
¿De construcción? ¿Pues de qué?
Eléctrico.
¿De construcción?
Algo.
De hacer casas.
Oh no.
¿Eh?
Algo similar, pero con electricidad.
Sí, con
Sí.
hacer
Sí,
materiales de estos, techos y todo eso.
Sí.
Desde abajo, sí,
Sí.
desde abajo y...
Sí.
Sí. Está bien.
Sí. Eso
Yo sé hacer eso.
es.
Yo sé hacer estas paredes, pegar adobes y tabique.
Sí, ese es ingeniero
Y hacer
civil.
techos y como eso también.
Sí, ese es ingeniero civil.
Al sembrar y...
Sí.
Sí. Pero
Sí.
ya no puedo porque me duele mucho esta mano de aquí. Y ya no tengo fuerzas, pero yo hacía adobes así, ¿no?
Sí.
Y me echaba unos botes de mezcla, cargaba un malgazo y me echaba aquí al límite para echar el techo.
Sí, mi mamá me dijo
Pero
que...
ya no puedo.
Que...
Ya no puedo, ya me duele la mano y los pies.
Sí. Sí, por eso dice mi mamá que a veces intento cargar cosas de una manera y ella me dice, no lo cargues así porque vas a lastimarte tu espalda. Sí, eso que ella me
Está
dice.
bien, que Dios lo ayude y se pone bien vivo, que no se vaya a caer. Usted, como ingeniero, usted nomás los hace, tiene que ver el maestro, usted nomás la órdenes al maestro, que el maestro dirija a la gente.
Sí.
El arquitecto le va a hacer el plano y usted como ingeniero, usted le dice, pues aquí lleve esto y aquí lleve eso otro.
Sí, exactamente.
¿Cuántos años le faltan ya?
1 año y medio.
1 año nomás y ya se recibe de ingeniero.
Sí, ahora creo que voy a tener que tomar un examen para que me den una licencia, pero primero tengo que agarrar un trabajo donde vas aprendiendo lo que es hacer un ingeniero. Sí. Y
Está bien.
sí, no es nada fácil, pero si es voluntad de Dios, todo puede hacer. Sí.
Pues sí, nomás encomienda a Dios y hacer el trabajo, ¿qué más?
Sí, exactamente. Sorry, folks. Give me just a moment. hold on. Acts 10:34. Let me go to Acts 10:34. So that is here. Opening his mouth, Peter said, I most certainly understand now that God is not one to show partiality, but in every nation the one who fears him and does what is right is acceptable to him. Metro might have actually shown that to me. Metro's shtick, as Charlie Kirk would say, is not to be judgmental about people, and that's when Metro leaves. But regardless, yeah, partiality, any kind of partiality destroys justice. Nepotism or inepotism. A snake is not easily quantified. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that God is no respecter of persons. A lot already my best is omega, delta, phi, theta, lambda, and closing bracket ODPHTH oddfifth ooh and whatever. Racism is an extreme form of nepotism, one that includes types of hate. Omega delta G. ODG. Swimmer really loves his Greek. Yeah, racism. That's bad. I even said a few years back we're gonna see reverse racism, and well, that's happened in different parts of the world. Texas, not so much. Texas, I can actually say that racism has not been a problem from what I can tell. At least where I've been. Maybe, you know, people take it out of context, but racism is not nearly one of the biggest. Well, in other states, you're probably going to see uh, examples of reverse racism. Um, but yeah, academic research has been a key component. Yeah, exactly, swimmer. Uh, People will write a doctoral thesis submitted to Stanford with all citations and footnotes. Um, by the way, I got that from Charlie Kirk. He's like, my favorite prayer in the whole Bible is three words. It was said one of the women that Jesus healed. It's Lord help me. Lord help me. Let me be clear. It has to be sincere. It does not have to be sophisticated. You do not have to write a doctoral thesis submitted to Stanford with all the citations and footnotes of all the biblical citations. It just has to be, Lord help me. What else? And also, what else? I forgot. Oh yeah. Venezuela. United States uh, um, forces have taken Nicolas Maduro, the Venezuelan president who succeeded Hugo Chavez, and Maduro was uh, condemned for being a dictator. And wouldn't you know it, he's been taken away by another country. and now he's facing charges, drug trafficking, and I'm not sure about I can't remember the other charge that he's facing, but yeah. Swimmer is a SAR swimmer, master diver. Swimmer 15, dragging up my friends. Signing out. God bless you, Swimmer. Thank you for joining in. Go in peace and seek the love of the Lord. And yeah, we'll be back, I hope, at 9 or 10. But I am going to have to make it a quick one because I do not. Uh, I'm going to have to sleep soon. In fact, I'm not even sure if we're going to be able to do another part 3 because of how early we're going to wake up. I was hoping to wake up at 8, definitely. At least 8. But 6, that is early. Very early. Um, what else? We will. I still plan to do it as of this moment, but I do want to make it a quickie this time. But, you know, we're on here online right now just to get out our different thoughts. What are your plans once you arrive back in Houston? Are you going to make any stops before getting on the road back home? One of our friends is going to pick us up from the airport, and we're going to probably go and stop at this Mexican restaurant uh, on the East X Freeway, which has a bakery just on the other side. Um, at least that's what I think will happen. I'm not too sure. But we're going to have that, and then we're going on straight home, and then if God's will allows, we'll see each other again for Chargers Patriots coming up tomorrow. Kickoff at 7:15. I was hoping that I wouldn't be missing out on the Bills and the Jaguars. People really want to see that game. I think you should be home in time for the game. Yeah, we arrive apparently at 2:52. Well, it says 2:52, but we're probably going to get there earlier. But regardless, I don't think it should be a problem. We'll probably even be in time to catch the last minute of the NFC. Who's playing? Oh, 49ers, Eagles. That's what's next after Bills, Jags. Bills and Jags. Um, Let me know how that game goes. I wish I could see it, but I won't be able to because I'm going to be on the flight. Maybe I'll catch some of the first quarter on my devices by means of VIP box or whatever uh, websites offer it, but whatever. Apart from that, we'll be live for Texans Steelers in Pittsburgh. What else? Um, uh, yeah. I think you should be. Oh, sorry. I read that already. Um, what else? Iran. Just uh, lately, Iran citizens are protesting against their government. And if I'm not mistaken, X has even replaced the Iranian flag of the Islamic uh, Republic of Iran to the previous flag with a lion on it. Um, yeah. Previously in Iran, they're a Zoroastrianism based country, but then they went to Islam. I don't know, forgive my pronunciation, but Zoroastrianism or whatever it is, that's what they used to be. I have no clue what that is, but that's their former majority religion until the Islamic people came in and did what they did. NBC's new scorebook looks like a flattened version of the CBS final scorebook. And I'm going to say this, it also reminds me of ESPN because if you look at ESPN, some of it looks frosted in a way. It has like neon with a little bit of frosting. That's what NBC reminds me of. It looks like a frosted version of the previous one. Um, the only difference is the scorebook doesn't touch the edge of the screen. NBC scorebook doesn't. NBC must have been drawing inspiration from both ESPN's main scorebook combined with CBS's final scorebook. Yeah, it looks like their now previous scorebook, NBC's previous scorebook. For some reason, NBC's scorebook, they introduced Super Bowl 56 when the Rams won at home. It reminds me of Deluxe Digital Studios for some reason. I don't know, but I always associated with that. Um, there's a logo they used in 2005, 2006, and the texture kind of reminded me of that, along with some gradient stuff. Um, I also have a theory. You see how the top is curved on the score bug? That may be also, I guess they're shaping the score bug after, um, the peacock, the NBC peacock, the feathers. That could be a potential animation touch. We have not seen the opening animation for the score bug, but it could potentially feature uh, an animation based on their logo, the peacock. The curvy portions and the rounded trapezoidal shape are what remind me of the CBS final score bug. Yeah, CBS, um, it has kind of like a trapezoidal shape with a little modification, indeed. And you saw what CBS had previously before their current one. It was trapezoidal with a little bit of a curve. The right or the left, depending on which team is which, would have an arrow like um, edge to it. Not exactly arrow, but rather the shape of the CBS logo, the eye logo, in a way. And it would be slightly rounded as well. This time, since it's more in your face, you can't see that quite obviously. At least I don't think so. I might be wrong about that. I'd have to look at that again. But yeah. um, the Kirby portions. Their new scorebook looks like it is drawn using Adobe Illustrator with the gradient tools and beveling. Yeah. Um, I think there's also some redesigned beveled logos for the team logos. Whether they do the same thing as CVS, maybe to a certain degree, uh, CBS has relied on the neon outlines for their team logos, whereas ESPN, it's more like a glow. So whether NBC follows that same trend, we'll have to see. It's TVH, to be honest. I'm just joking. It's to be announced. And CBS has kept their eye logo rather prominent in the graphics. Yes, they really love to animate with the arrow style or not the, but chevrons in the style of the CBS eye. That's what this new graphics package I'm working on is based off of. Except their lower thirds, which animate in 2D, completely 2D. Um, when they're showing the players' stats, they're still based on the same thing as back in 2021. I love it when they add some 3D effects to the team logos. Yeah, that makes the logo pop out. They used to do this fake 3D or not fake 3D thing, but it just the logo is 3D, but nothing special. It just looks 3D. Now they're adding beveling, which started, I guess, with CBS in 2021. And then NBC followed suit, and then Fox. And actually, I think it was introduced by ESPN in 2019. So, yeah. I might be wrong about that. Maybe it was actually ESPN who introduced the bevelings. I wish we could see every bug they have in their graphics package, like the player bugs, the ticker bug, etc. NBC does not have a ticker except in the pregame, which follows the trends that ESPN and Fox are following. CBS is actually the only broadcaster that I believe shows a ticker. Not even Fox does it anymore, but CBS is the only one that shows a ticker in game. However, it's in the upper left corner instead of being on the bottom of the screen. Now, all the networks, I believe, do show a ticker at the bottom of the screen. But nobody does it in game anymore. At least that's what I think. Oh, ESPN does? For some reason, I thought ESPN also hid theirs during the game. But in other games, yeah, for sure. The NFL, I'd had to check back on that. Being that 2021 was long ago, they basically kept the same graphics, but they make gradual changes over time that eventually evolve into something completely new. Yeah, um, some people go by the adage of if it's not broken, don't fix it, or But at the same time, the Super Bowl, whoever has the Super Bowl, they are bound to make changes So, you know, I really like to visualize the logo before we start to make modifications. So, I don't know if they do the same or, I'd imagine they do the same, but yeah. ¿En cuánto tiempo te quieres ir?
Cuando termines ahí.
Sí, y ya cuando tú quieras, yo lo termino.
Ok.
I wish you could see every. You will see that tomorrow night. You'll see that tomorrow night, and they're gonna broadcast every graphic they have. The reason they did this is one of the executives at NBC handling the graphic stuff. They said, "I've always thought, why wait until the Super Bowl? Why not, test it out and iron out the wrinkles for the Super Bowl and get it right there." I love the frosted glow that they have on the NBC score bug. It reminds me of ESPN, which has one of the best graphics packages I've ever seen. Um, I guess the only complaint I have, it's not really much of a complaint, but I guess the numbers for the score can be slightly skinny. But apart from that, it looks like a potentially flawless thing. And they might, I don't know for sure, but they might reuse the touchdown animations for what they introduced on Thursday night Cowboys Eagles. They might recycle those for this new score bug. As for the rest of the graphics, we're going to see tomorrow. And as for those graphics, we'll also. I'm not sure if anybody has access to the studios or the broadcast room, the control room, whatever, to handle all the graphics and such, but apparently there's a satellite feed that they use to get the score bug and all the graphics associated with it. So you also see new transitions, perhaps, maybe not. Um, Everything at our disposal to be determined. Sorry. Uh, Score bugs that are minimal but still have a sleek look to them are the best. As a graphic designer, I can tell you that the rule is to create attention but not be the dominating element. NBC accidentally leaked the new scorebook because accidentally showed it on a test broadcast. Yeah. Apparently they have a satellite feed that they use to test the graphics, and someone got access to that and was able to find the score bug right there, live from Gillette Stadium. So they did that back when the beginning of the NFL season happened with CBS. They leaked the one for the Raiders and the Patriots week 1. They also did the same last Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59, for Fox. There have been some fake leaks from CBS, which is the fake leak that I use for CBS. That's what I've, based off mine from. Now that's going to be revamped. It's going to be replaced. It's done well, but I want to test something else and see what y'all think. And that's coming up on Super Bowl 60. As for um, as for commentary on what people think on the score bug, people say that um, they can do without the abbreviations. Like you see LAC for Chargers and NE for the Patriots. Those abbreviations can be done without. That's what somebody said. That's what a few people said. But I like it regardless. And I think the font on the abbreviations is good. It looks modern. It looks very good. It doesn't really match character nor does it really stand out or have much visual appeal like CBS's style. Yeah. Um, yeah. Um, it doesn't have the aura that CBS's has. Like CBS, they have a score book when they go into a break. When they're showing a replay, that's in the form of a rectangle. That looks better. And then the one that they show, the final scorebook that they show during the halftime or 2 minute warning or the final the game. It looks so professional and it rivals NBC. Although I get the feeling that CBS's graphics are pre-rendered, but it still looks beautiful, clean, and sleek. LOL. Someone probably got fired. Like, yeah, somebody got fired. You know who? The Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus. It was like Cyber Chase when Harry was telling Harley, "Hey Harley, I got some more chocolate for you," and then Harley walks up and reads the text, the chocolate that's in the shape of "you're fired," and says, "You're fired," and he is in shock. That was a bozo no on their part. They weren't being careful. Yeah, neither was Matty or Flues. No, I don't think that they would fire people for that. It maybe I'm probably wrong. You know what? Maybe they got fired, maybe not. But the point is, it's gonna happen to. It's not the first time it's happened to NBC. They leaked the score bug before Super Bowl 56. They leaked the score bug to um, somebody leaked the score bug to Fox at one point. I didn't see it uh, for Super Bowl 57, and then Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. They leaked the CBS score bug somewhat, but it was a blurry footage. It was a blurry image. I mean, so I couldn't tell what it. But I didn't see that leak either. And then someone leaked the score bug to Super Bowl 59 on Fox, and it was negative and very much an awful thing and bland and stuff. I can't wait to see your score bugs. I would say remove the abbreviations and just use the logos. And for the rest of the negative space or empty space or whatever that's remaining, if they were to eliminate those abbreviations, would they, make the logo bigger, or would they just shorten the length of the score bug? In graphic design, graphical elements must balance out with text so that one element doesn't dominate over the other. That's why I think using logos in place of abbreviations is the best. Yeah, NBC, for all I know, they've used both the logo and the abbreviation since their takeover of Sunday Night Football in 2006. and they have not let go of that. Now, when NBC uh, finished broadcasting the NHL nationally, their regional sports networks, they went logo only, and now they're just abbreviation only, which I honestly don't like. I prefer the older iteration, but yeah. If not fired, then reprimanded for not paying attention to what they were doing. It's going to happen regardless, and I think we're going to get some leaks as time goes by again. As in uh, ESPN/ABC, their score bug's going to leak as well for whatever they introduce next year, because they have the Super Bowl 61 rights. When it comes to final scorebooks, which format do you prefer? Large ones like CBS that are front centered and in your face, or smaller ones like NBC that just sift off to the side? I prefer CBS's. Now the difference is that NBC, their one, the one that just hovers in the ground in the middle, that's usually shown when they're going to commercials. And as for, and they also use it when they're starting the uh, first, third quarter, fourth quarter, second quarter. What they use sometimes is different. They use also a design that's off to the side that, you know, it just has the logos and it has the score. It's inside of a rectangle. They also use that one. It's still, it's better. It's a lot better than the other one from NBC, but CBS's still looks visually pleasing to me. What I will say about CBS is I wish they would make their text like a gradient text, because you know, it's a solid color, and I think it does, clash a little bit with the 3D, the bevel of the logos. CBS's final scorebook has so much visual appeal to it, there's not even no one you miss it. It's like they really want to ensure the viewers amid the final scores to cut to a break. Yep, exactly. The one they had before, during the 24-25 season, the font looked ugly. They still use that font to an extent, but not during the final score bugs. None of them. But rather, um, they use like a really bold font um, for the scores and the quarter and the time. And it just looked, now looking it back at it and comparing it to what they have right now, um, and of course, we're talking about the rectangle or box shaped design, not the other one that's, you know, the Xbox style thing. But, they really improved that. Yeah, I would. The only thing I would do is I've modified the text and add a bit of a gradient to it to make it pop more and combine well. Hey, it's my birthday tomorrow. Metro! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Metro, for tomorrow. Happy birthday to you. Everybody give it up for Metro. God bless you. May the Lord bless you on tomorrow's birthday. Whew. Oh man. Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna be back from Mexico and we're gonna go and stream and we're gonna witness this new scorebook that NBC has and the rest of the graphics at disposal. I say, sorry, CBS's. I once before the final scorebook looks, it came out right at the dashboard UI of the very first Xbox. Yeah, that dates back to 2001 and renders in real time, which is crazy. Happy birthday, Metro. Uh, oh, okay, Metro. Just to prove that I'm not bald, and I'm not going to be bald anymore. I've I'm I'm done trying to hide it. I'm done trying to wait. But here I am. I know. I know it's sad news, but we did not have time to go to the barber. Well, we did go to the barber, but my mom was busy doing other stuff, and I didn't want to take away of her time in that. All right. Many graphic designers sometimes put so much. I was hoping to do a reveal, but that's not going to happen. Sometimes put much focus on how the main visual elements look that they never take into account how the text looks. Some gradient text would really beef it up. Yeah, that's my only improvement concept or whatever. It would add a little bit of depth. Yeah. Be honest, I'm guilty of that myself. Yeah, well, I was about to do that, but yeah, it did not come to pass. No deal for this year. The first Xbox dashboard was 98% bright time green. The CBS Final Scorebook took that same shapes more with a modern twist. Yep. They have these little bumps, bevel bumps, um, that make it stand out. How come Adam hasn't streamed in a while? He's probably busy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess he must have forgotten. He's going to stream tomorrow. Tomorrow he's going to stream. Enjoy that light. Also, Adam has launched a new channel called Faith Over Anxiety. So check that out. He's building up his repertoire. I always rave about the final score because it's really my favorite out of the network's graphics. CBS just put much more effort into their final scorebook design than the other networks did. For sure. Um, it's a unique design, and not even NBC could top that. And many people consider NBC to be that upper echelon of that design. CBS may have taken a crown. Yeah, Adam's new channel, Faith Over Anxiety. Check that out. Yeah, Team S.O.S is going online tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. ESPN's has some gleek. I said gleek. Gleek graphics, but CBS still tops it in some places. Yeah, ESPN, I think, has the best overall graphics package. CBS still has some of the older graphics for their lower thirds, which clash with their current ones. So, yeah, that's what's stopping them from having the overall number one graphics. But, and I will say that for some of their graphics inside of the studios, they just wipe in. It still looks awesome from a static standpoint, but dynamics, um, they could potentially do even more. But it's still a design that they could use and can't go wrong with. Fox needs to take some notes. When it comes time for them to host Super Bowl again, they gotta bring their A game when they overhaul their graphics package. Seriously, no kidding. I think their best graphics package. Some people like the one from 2010. Others from what's the back when they streamed the or broadcast the Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl. Some of them like that one. I think their best one though was back in 2020 from COVID year, and the original version looked much more visually dynamic and game changer, and it set the new standard for graphics across the country. I'm a lone wolf. Metro's a lone wolf. Fox in 2010 had a stellar final score bug and backs receivers bug. Those graphics were beautiful. Yeah, that was, in the eyes of many people, their favorite. Oh, I can't see. Well, I could click on it, but it's going to have the stream pause and buffer. But I think my favorite from Fox, though, was back in 2004, um, when they had those. Um, they had a score bug back in 2001, which was very simple. And then in 2002, 2003, they changed it up a little bit. The version after that, which was, it looked like computerized text with colors, that was, in my opinion, one of the best. Wrong links. Oh, there it is. Um, yeah. ESPN. I wonder what ESPN is going to show tomorrow. Find a score bug, backs and receivers bug, right there at your disposal. Um, whew. Oh man. What else? Um, yeah, ESPN. I would say starting with the 2000. Uh, that year they introduced their first score bug, which was on the bottom. It took up the whole bottom of the screen. That was their first great one. And then Following after that, they revamped it a little bit, some new touchdown animations, and for I guess 2018, 19, maybe before that, they revamped it up with different text, same touchdown animation they introduced before, and then in 2019 they made it look like a flat design, like more 2D. Um, and then starting with 2021, or no, 22, excuse me, their first ever time using the current score bug was that it was a game on September 11th of that year. Aaron Rodgers got hurt on the second drive or the second play of the game. And then the Jets win on a kickoff or punt return, excuse me, touchdown from Xavier Gibson. Gibson. The final score back is back of a comparable to the guesses of today. Super Bowl XLV. Small score buck in upper left corner, player buck in the lower thirds, and logo buck in the upper right corner. Yeah. My favorite one from NBC has to be the one from 2018 when the Eagles faced the Patriots in the Super Bowl. There's just something about that design that screams prime time. The one from 2006, it looked flashy and dynamic for sure. 2009 added more fluid animations and more aura. 2012 was a relaxing version of that. 2015, I believe, or 14, one of those, when the Patriots played the Seahawks, that was also a good one. Or wait, actually, it looked good by design. Although I'll say that the scorebook itself looked weaker than the previous designs in terms of animation and dynamics. And as for the 2018 one, that's one of my favorites. Their opening animation, top notch. Um, and then this one they have right now, it's okay. I have fallen out of love with it. Um, and look, it's decent, but there's a little improvement that it could use. Super Bowl 2009 is a memorable one for me, as you know, but I'll say the score from that game was a bit blocky, too many borders around the different segments of the scorebook. And it was, um, I think that was the last score bug, or maybe the next one after it. The last of the score bugs that, you know, from NBC that NBC had this score bug and the lower half of it in the NFL was it had a transparent gray rectangle for the bottom half. And for the NHL, that would be the upper half. NBC was owned by GE back then. It took Comcast's ownership for NBC to start improving it. Yeah. I remember back in 2011 or 12, whenever they introduced the next one, that score bug was animated by Troika Troika Media Group or Media Design. I forgot what their name was, but they also animated. They're the same guys who also animated uh, KCET Los Angeles. And if you watch Sid the Science Kid or you know other shows by PBS, you'd see that logo there. But those same guys animated the score bug for NBC. And they also animated the highly revolted Stars logo on a black gradient background with a little bit of white, a spotlight that just has the Stars logo. Dun, dun, dun. 2011 is when Comcast took control of NBC. GE was only a minority owner at that time. Yeah. GE, um, think about it. GE had their own appliance line. They had also NBC. Now they're just aero, aero airplane motor business. Think about that. Da, 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 da. Okay. Um, in addition to their graphics, I also wonder who creates the scores for the games, the background music cues, such as the themes. There's probably an artist who conducts it or composes it, and I know for Prime Video, their NFL theme is made by a female Turkish American uh, composer. So those are recorded. They're composed by someone and then sent to the broadcast networks, and then they hire some sort of band to perform them and record it. Um, for Amazon Prime, um, I'll say this about the graphics: their their use of I was gonna say yellow, but no, their use of blue is very prominent. And while their graphics do definitely look like primetime graphics, CBS has set a new standard for beveling that I think they have to go with beveling for Prime. John Williams, Jurassic Part Park, Star Wars, and Home Alone also scored NFL on NBC. Yeah, different composers will compose music for these things. Also, the initial NFL on NBC was just a marching style theme. It didn't have the guitar or rock feeling that it had or that it has today. That was introduced, I believe, in 2009. Spider. Ew, what is that? Oh no, that's not a spider. That's a very nasty prick on my shoe. It has made some holes on my shoe. Oh no. I thought it was a sponge. Okay. There's a SpongeBob music cue called Big Ed's March, which sounds very NFL-esque. Yeah, SpongeBob uses a lot of stock music. Many of those composed by the guy who does Big Ed's March. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Um, that's also the same guy who does the Mermaid Band and Marvel theme. Many of those are themes for NFL films from back in the 60s. They were composed. And I believe ESPN uses some of those themes. And NBC also uses Roundup, which is another similar theme to Big Ed's uh, March. Many of SpongeBob's cues date back to the 70s, 80s, being before he even existed. Yeah. Um, some cues are from the 50s and the 60s and 70s and 80s, as you said. Um, SpongeBob also uses some in-house music that they produce on their own. Um, they're notorious for stock music from APM and Wonton. Unfortunately, they have some of the iconic themes that they use. They're not able to use it due to rights disputes and issues. So they've changed over time, and some of the cues, such as I'm trying to think of one of them. There's a version of Honolulu March that they used to use. That was the title card music for Hooky. That's one of them that they don't use anymore. They also stopped using Vive Link, which was composed or recorded in 1991.
¿Qué es lo que se escanea aquí?
Oh,
El código y qué más.
ese es para que te saquen la forma. Pero eso ya lo tengo, pero si quieres sacarlo con un teléfono puedes hacerlo también.
Digo, por si no fue caso.
Sí. Sí. Ok. ¿Qué?
Para que no se sienta.
Para que no se sienta que. Entonces no lo sabes.
No. Que me lo va a sacar Jimenita.
Ok.
Entonces, es que dice tu tía Chelo que sí todo.
No, simplemente tiene que escanear estos códigos y sacarlos y imprimirlos.
¿Y es todo?
Sí.
La información de este código.
Sí.
Y en este código sale nuestra información, ¿verdad?
Sí, ya sale. They save a ton of time and money by just scoring the show using cues from APM and other libraries, versus having them score in house. Yeah, that's true. But royalties really screw up that process as well. So now they're forced to use their own type of scores based off of those cues. There's a Hawaiian link that they use, two versions of it, and now they use a different version that they produce themselves because of the older one, royalties, rights, and stuff has taken it out of the library, so they cannot use those things anymore. Okay. And going back to John Williams, he's definitely the Michael Jordan of music cues. And Denny Elfman, James Horner, Henry Mancini were certainly right there with him. Yeah, Lalo Schifrin, he's from Argentina, also one of those who composed. I think he's the one who, and also Jerry Goldsmith. They've done some work for Paramount, and I think one of them also did the. I don't know who did the theme for 2001: A Space Odyssey, but you know, those people are noteworthy. Jerry Goldsmith composed a theme for Paramount and uh, for Carolco, um, the one who did Terminator. James Horner's cues for the 2000 Grinch movie were just whimsical and beautiful, for example. Yeah. Um, yeah, I agree. Okay. Now, going way back to Paramount and Warner Brothers, if there's a way that Paramount Skydance does acquire Warner Brothers Discovery and the NHL came to be on CBS by ways of, sharing the rights between TBS and TNT and CBS, would they compose a new theme for it, or would they just use the TNT theme? And same thing if CBS wanted to broadcast the MLB, because uh, TBS has the rights. There's NHL on TNT and NHL, or actually, it's now known as TNT Sports. This umbrella as TNT Sports. Richard Strauss of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Okay, I would have never guessed that one then. That would be up to Paramount what to do. They could either use. Yeah, I wonder what would happen if either or could happen. Um, yeah. Hmm. Think about what CBS could do. Um, the next time they stream this, or I always say stream, I mean to say broadcast the Super Bowl. Um, they could introduce the new graphics in the Super Bowl, and then for the Stanley Cup, they could transfer those graphics to there, and then, you know, for the MLB, well, actually, MLB is before the Stanley Cup playoffs, so they could introduce MLB graphics or yeah, before the Stanley Cup playoffs, at the same time as the Super Bowl. Um, and as for the theme, well, we'll see what they do there. Um, Adios. Hold on, let me say goodbye to the children. NBC Universal does with the Olympics. They simulcast the. Oh, sorry. Um, owning owning those networks and even that minority stake in a CW could open doors for simulcasting opportunities. Right, and then CBS Universal does this with the Olympics. They simulcast the games across multiple of their networks, with NBC being the principal. Of course, that's no good change since they sold most of first son switch off Comcast last week. Yeah, hold on a second. I'm gonna ask when we're gonna go to home.
Cuidado, oye. De pegarte. Ten cuidado. Pues llévate la cobijita. Marca que traía, que tiene. Ah, pues dice que te la preste. Y ahorita ya te la vamos a caminar. Por la casa mañana te la traes. Dice que te la preste. ¿No? No, pero no voy a cobijar a Emile. Por eso traes la otra.
Yeah. All right. A combined, sorry, a combined Paramount and Warner Brothers can end up being a sports broadcasting king, undoubtedly. And we've discussed this before, but multiple games on different networks could generate a package that rivals Fox in terms of the MLB. Yeah, we'll have to see. All right. I think my parents, or my mom and my aunt, they're planning to leave soon, so we're we're gonna cut it very soon. Warner Brothers Discovery is being blinded by nepotism. They don't care touch. Yeah, like I said, as long as those not shareholders, but those board of directors don't resign, nothing's gonna get through. So, yeah, I'll be right back, and then we'll wrap it up. Um, Give me just a moment.
¿O te quieres ir a la carriola?
All right, and we're back. How did it feel to spend your Christmas break in Mexico? I'm sure you're also glad to start heading back home. Um, I'll be honest, it felt kind of weird. Um, the first few days felt pretty dull and not packed with action. Like it was, yes, relaxing, but at the same time, I didn't feel excited. Yes, I'm with family, but there was something that was missing, and then I insisted to my mom, let's go do something, and that purchased some, you know, willingness to go back here, and then, you know, um, around after, Mexico, the Christmas season really goes on until January 6th. Um, but yeah, you know, in the United States, there's Christmas and then there's Happy New Year. But in Mexico, in the 6th, that's the day of the three wise men, the three magi, whatever. Um, Around that period where the Christmas spirit was wrapping up, it felt like Mexico was feeling rather lonely, rather depressing, and I'll be honest, it it it, it got to me, and you know I could not manage my emotions sometimes, but you know, um, slowly but surely, my mom and I, went through some adventures to take on and finish up the right way. And, you know, today we went to this city called San Miguel de Allende, and we went to a restaurant. It was a relaxing restaurant. We went with a family, and it was relaxing and fun at the same time. And we even caught a wedding at a nearby Catholic church or paroch. And there were two American people, or non-Mexicans. I think they're from United States or Canada or UK, whatever. I couldn't tell. But they're not from Mexico. They're foreigners. We caught a wedding, and you know, we even got to this patisserie where I bought a croissant, and it was good. And it felt like the ending of this trip was when it all came alive. And this trip is one of the many trips, or not many trips, but one of the many instances where I felt that time went by so slowly. And I'm grateful for the Lord. I felt like the Lord was spoiling me. Truly. Maybe He's just preparing me because for a period of, you know, just to get a good taste. Maybe there's a period ahead of tribulation and stuff. but I'm grateful for the Lord to bring me that. So, unfortunately, that happens because of festivities at the season end. The difference between December and January is huge. One is a full of fun and family time. The other one is a drab. Yeah, I'd say from fall to winter, that's when it gets on. Summer, um, I guess it goes on as well, but especially with older folks, summer doesn't really feel like anything special because you do have to work. Um, at least for non-students, you have to work. You have, and then fall. At least you have sports like the NFL and the World Series and the NBA playoffs and the NHL starts there as well. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that fall to winter, January winter, uh, January 1st, as a matter of fact, that's really when the spirit lives on. The spirit of cheerfulness. I will say, though, that there's a spirit there that dwells with you even when you're alone. And his name is the Holy Spirit. Um, yeah. The earlier months of the year are rather boring. The next major holiday, I guess you could say, that comes after New Year's Day, Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah, new graphics, new scorebook, new NFL champion potentially, unless you're the Chiefs back in 23-24. You'd repeat as Super Bowl champs. Um, apart from that, yeah, Super Bowl, um, in February. That's good. Oh, we're gonna leave. We're about to leave, folks. So, creo que está en el baño. Pues mañana pasamos por ustedes. Sí. Oh, wait, never mind. Wait, I have to ask my mom. Super Bowl brings everyone together, even young football fans, if you think about it. Yeah, it does. Um, whether it be at a sports bar or it be uh, at a organization of sorts, or even friends along the way. Super Bowl Sunday is a classic American experience. I have to go to the bathroom. Excuse me a moment.
con la de esta, de tu abuelita, hija. Mira, con este, mira. A ver.
All right, sorry. Sorry. Christmas has the power to bring everyone, even non-Christians, together. Right. Yeah, you saw that wedding right there. I wish I could get a closer view, but I don't want to get in trouble with the people who run the place there because they have a policy of um, no photography or footage or video stuff allowed. But yeah, they got married. They're playing a mariachi, and they live happily ever after. Hopefully, and prayed for the Lord for that blessing. Um, all right, so folks, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna come back. I was contemplating leaving it there and just leaving the next part for tomorrow, but I want to finish up some stuff from the Bible today, just for lead it up. But I will be back later in, I guess, an hour perhaps. I'm gonna be packing my bags, but I want to be back and finish off this thing. But this is not a goodbye for tonight. This is rather, I'll see you later. I will be back. We're gonna hit the road. I'm gonna get into some Wi-Fi over there at the house we're staying, and we'll be back at 9. I want to say, maybe. We'll see. I hope I don't miss the later stream. Yeah. I want to have some time to, pack up my bags so, I don't forget anything. So, yeah, I'll get that done. We'll arrive when we get there. And, but I want to make it my mission to come back. It's probably going to be at 9. So, stay tuned. We'll be right back on I was going to say on the other side, but we'll be back at 9. But Christian, Metro, who else was here? Swimmer, Leo, Sammy, Colton, Casey, and all the other people. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll be right back in an hour.